It's a great day for New York City. It's an extraordinary day for Queens. And it's something that everyone should be very proud of. That once upon a time, people thought of New York City, they only thought of Manhattan. As a Brooklynite, I never liked that. As a son of Queens, I know you never liked that. Well, what has happened, I'm proud that we've been able to do a lot of this together, is we really have a 5-borough economy now. We also have the extraordinary renaissance of Brooklyn. We've been seeing it happening in Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island. This certainly consolidates Queens as a great economic capital and consolidates New York City as a great international tech hub.
And that was New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio praising Amazon's announcement that it chose Queens as one of 2 locations that will house its long-awaited HQ2 expansion. Both are located just outside 2 major city centers. The company says 25,000 jobs will be created in Long Island City, New York. That is just outside of Manhattan. Another 25,000 will be hired in the Crystal City neighborhood of Arlington, Virginia, near the Pentagon and just outside of Washington, D.C. Amazon says those jobs will have an average salary of $150,000. In exchange, the 2 cities are providing Amazon with more than $2 billion in incentives. Amazon also announced a new 5,000 job center in Nashville. In return, Amazon will receive up to $102 million in tax benefits. Joining me now with more on Amazon's expansion is Eric Gertler. Eric is the executive chairman of U.S. News and World Report. He's also the CEO of Ulysses Ventures and sits on the board of directors for the Empire State Development Fund, New York State's chief economic development agency. Eric, wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for being here. So tell us, what was it that led Amazon to choose these 2 sort of major metropolitan areas over all the other cities they looked at?
Well, I think first and foremost, today we're living in a global competition for talent. And I think Amazon realized that New York City has a large educated workforce, as does D.C., and that is why they wanted to be here. First and foremost, talent.
But can I ask you, that's sort of apparent. So why go through, so, some of these other cities might say, well, why did you make us jump through all these hoops? Why did you, pretend, not pretend, I'm not saying pretend, but why, say you're interested in other areas when the talent was always in these large metropolitan areas to begin with?
Well, in one sense, they were headquartered in Seattle. They wanted to get a sense of what was going on in all of the cities. And they, came to the conclusion that we all know that really here in New York City, and I'm very proud of that, and in Queens, there's access to a large talented workforce.
Look, that's great for us here in New York. I'm happy to as a New Yorker, but I just wonder if this will not exacerbate the already growing metropolitan areas, how they're magnets for talents, and here's where the economies are, and the rest of the country is getting left behind.
Well, that is certainly happening. We're seeing a huge trend towards urbanization. We're seeing, certainly in the large cities, we're seeing a virtuous cycle of companies coming for the talent. The talent is here, more companies are coming. And that's just a fact of living in the 21st century. It's a knowledge economy, and these companies need knowledgeable workers to get to the next level.
Now, we also know that, at least in Queens, and I'm more familiar with Queens than I am with Arlington, Virginia, but we know that this new headquarters is going to be right next to a big housing project. Right. There's a lot of poverty in the area. How much can those immediate residents in that neighborhood expect to benefit from Amazon?
Well, Amazon will be bringing a lot of jobs. These are high-paying jobs that have a multiplier effect, which means that with each of those jobs, there will be other jobs that may be hired. For example, they may hire another worker in a Starbucks or restaurant, or so be it. But no question, there's going to be pressure in these neighborhoods. There will likely be increased housing costs, increased transportation costs, pressure on utilities. So there is a balance that needs to be watched.
Now, frankly, do you think that Queens is ready from a transportation standpoint? I mean, the trains are already packed.
Yeah, well, these are the challenges, but those challenges were there before. Our elected officials are aware of that, and we have work to do to fix some of those challenges. Right.
And now, looking ahead, who do you think will benefit the most from this, and who stands to lose out the most?
Well, I think first of all, and I heard what the mayor and I heard what the governor said, this is truly in New York. It's a great day for New York City. It is a great day for Queens. Amazon benefits because they get access to talented workers, they get access to a great university, they get access to the financial capital in the world here, and they get access to the government capital in D.C. But it will be tough on the neighborhood, and we've got to watch some of the issues that we just talked about.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people in the Queensbridge projects that I just told you about, they say, these companies get these huge tax breaks. What about us? What breaks are we getting? I mean, you look at $2 billion worth of tax breaks. What is the city, other than a bunch of new jobs, what is the city getting? Is there a lot of revenue it will get back?
So absolutely, there will be increased revenue, increased spending over many years. And again, as part of this, we talk about the incentives, but the incentives are always fully refundable tax credits. You need to hire the jobs, you need to retain the jobs, and also in this particular case, there are many things that Amazon will do for the community. There will be an incubator, there'll be apprenticeship programs. It'll help to train some of the workers to become more skilled. There'll be green space. So there will be a balance. No doubt Amazon is coming into a new community. They're sensitive to that. And there's no question that both the governor and the mayor want to make sure that the community gets some of the benefits too.
Absolutely. I guess the takeaway here is that there's just no getting around the fact that companies are attracted to talent, and talent is attracted to companies. So it feeds on, these two things sort of feed on each other. Where there are the pool of educated workers, they feed off of each other, and innovation ensues.
Correct. So 2 points on that. Not only are companies coming to cities, but even within cities, people want to be so interconnected that they're working in these shared workspaces.
Right.
The other point is, we think about some of the rural areas, but no longer are these companies hiring assembly workers. They're hiring engineers. It used to be 50 years ago, these companies were making products. Today, these companies are making services, so it's a different type of worker. Those workers, the educated workers, are in the cities today.
Boy, I get anxiety as a parent. I'm like, I got to get my kid to take those STEM classes. I mean, you just see how it's all important in this economy.
No question, and it's critical. And I also think the fact that on Roosevelt Island we have the Cornell Tech University. That has added to Amazon's decision. The fact that we are a town with many really respected universities, that has also added to that. Because to your point, we need to make sure that they develop those skills.
Absolutely. Now, is it also a case that that Amazon knows it will have less trouble attracting talent because more people want to live in New York, let's say, than want to live maybe in a smaller city somewhere else?
Well, they're betting that they will get the talent. And what's interesting is on the same day that Amazon announces that they're going to put their second headquarters in Queens, Macy's, one of the iconic brands in retailing, announced that it was shrinking its footprint in many of its stores. So we're starting to see a change in terms of where the jobs are within cities. The
retail sector shrinks and the tech sector grows.
Exactly.
All right, Eric, thank you so much for your insight on this topic.
Thank you so much.
Sharing with us.